Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to a Sunday special Crypto Warehouse. Why am I streaming today? I have no idea. It is 11 a.m. No, it's not. It's 10 a.m. I'm so tired. It's 10 a.m. I'm going to stream today simply because there's a lot to catch up on. There's a lot of content that we haven't managed to get through over the last couple of days that I want to catch up on. So the only way to do that is either have an extended stream on a Friday or Saturday, and who wants a 2-hour stream, or I roll it over to a Sunday and do all of the content that I couldn't do on Friday and Saturday and do it today. So what is so important about the news that I need to tell you? Well, we're going to go through it today. We've got news about a correction. Where is that correction going to go? We have news about the XRP case and could it be dismissed? We have news about Nvidia and NEAR. Now, if you watched last week, I said that I was going to start looking into buying NEAR protocol. And the reason for that is that even though I have a very tight portfolio, I'm going to make room for NEAR. And I'm going to go through why in the show. And then the UK crypto law that's coming in. I'm going to go through my reason why it's a good thing. We can't have the Wild West when retail come to crypto because they're all going to get mugged. And we don't want that. So the only way to get through this is to do it on a Sunday and try and do a catch up. So if you are in chat, make sure to say hello. Good morning to a few people out there, especially some of you who may be still in bed. So we have Tariq is in chat. Our number one Litecoin maxi, I think we'll call Tariq from now on. Hidden Agendas is in chat. I think Kishan is here as well. And Chaotix Crypto. I do know what time it is, yes. And also, I am on my second cup of coffee already. So that's where we are. Now, if you are new here and you don't know what I'm talking about, we are Crypto Warehouse. We do normally stream Monday to Saturday at 11 a.m. We're doing a Sunday show because we need to catch up on work. Bottom left-hand corner, we've just hit 123,000 followers. So please make sure to smash the like button, hit the follow button, hit the like, hit everything that you can and help us grow. Bottom right, $74,000 is going to stay there as a target for Bitcoin, because in my opinion, until we get back to that target that we bounced off, we aren't going to go anywhere, and we're going to be stuck in this range for however long it might take. Possibly 3 months, possibly 6 months. We're going to have to wait and see, but we are going to get on with the show. We are not going to dilly-dally too much. It is a Sunday morning and I will lose track of where we are. So the markets are up 2.5%, 2.38 trillion. Volume is way down. Volume is down to 52 billion. Really low volume. You remember what we were saying when Bitcoin was pumping, we were at 120 billion a day. 52 billion is really low, but bear in mind it is a weekend and that probably will stay low until tomorrow or Tuesday. Bitcoin dominance then, nearly 53%. It's creeping up. Good morning, Mags. Welcome to the stream. ETH dominance has pumped up at 17%. If you are wondering why ETH has had such a pump, I have the answer. I tend to try and have the answer for most things. So I will tell you why very shortly, why Ethereum pumped. So Bitcoin then coming in at 64K, 1.5% up. ETH is up 6.5%. Big jump, and we know why. And we're going to go through that in a second. Let's have a look at some gainers then. OP is up 17%. Arweave is up 16%. Starknet 15%. ETH Classic. Don't know why. ETH Classic. We don't do ETH Classic on this channel. Bonk is up 11%. Say is up. Lots of gainers. That's what we like to see. And really not many losers. When you start to see stable coins appearing at the top of the worst performing assets over the last 24 hours, that tends to be a sign that you've had a green day, which is what we've just had. So markets are looking good. And again, this next clip is a daily reminder to you to not believe every word that comes out of a crypto influencer's mouth. just remember, you are the ducklings, and that influencer is leading you to the chicken house, and anytime soon you're going to become KFC. So just be careful when you listen to advice online, whether it be me, whether it be any other crypto influencer that you happen to like. Make sure that if they tell you that the sun is going to rise tomorrow, that you go and do your own research and check that the sun is going to rise. That's what you need to do. And it's a Sunday morning. Who doesn't want to see little chickens on a Sunday morning? Now then, for those of you who know a little bit about history and economics, Friedrich Hayek was a fairly well-known and established economist. While governments can stop people from issuing money, they can hardly stop them from opening accounts in something. So I think we can forget about existing money and existing banks and gradually open a system of accounts which displace government money. Well, do you know what? Sorry, comment that's just come in. It's raining in England. Do you know what? I think that's to be expected, isn't it? It is called Brit rain, after all. Good morning, Tata. I hope you are well. So, this is true to some extent, but not as much as it used to be, because as I said yesterday on the stream, if the governments do not consider Bitcoin to be money, why are they bringing in anti-money laundering rules about Bitcoin and Ethereum? If they don't consider it to be money, then how are they getting away with money laundering? Who knows? It's all very confusing. They don't want to come out and admit that crypto assets are a form of money. That's the problem. Now then, this is a very complex diagram. I'm not going to hold this on the screen too long. This is Grayscale in red, and this is BlackRock in green. And Grayscale's total number of Bitcoins in week 1 compared to now, it has fallen just over 50%, whereas BlackRock have gone from holding 2,600 Bitcoin to 275,000 Bitcoin. And that has happened in the space of 16 weeks. So this week, expect BlackRock to become the #1 Bitcoin ETF in the world. That is what is happening now. The flippening, or whatever you want to call it, is happening now. Now then, we've got a few of these to catch up on. They're a nice little intro to the show. So, Jason Appleton is Crypto Crow. Now, just for the record, he follows me. Can you believe that? He's one of my claim to fame. He's a massive Cardano maxi and somebody that I admire, and I like his opinion. I think he's honest and I think he's fair. So when he turns around and says the majority of cryptocurrencies are just Ponzi schemes with hollow ideas attached to them that go nowhere without marketing, you have to read into what he is saying. And what he is saying is true. When you think of cryptocurrencies, you name the cryptocurrencies. Whether it be Cardano, XRP, Solana, Avalanche, Optimism, you name them. But what you don't name are the other 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 cryptocurrencies that are out there, that exist, that you've never heard of, that are built on smoke and mirrors and lies. And that's what he's referring to. Now, if I asked you to write down every cryptocurrency you've ever heard of, how many would you be able to write down on a piece of paper? 50, 100, 200, 300 maybe? Now imagine that there's 5,000 cryptocurrencies out there. You've not heard of 90% of them. So when somebody like Jason Appleton says the majority are Ponzi schemes, he is not talking about most of the layer 1s and layer 2s and oracles and DeFi projects that you know about. He's talking about the plethora of these micro companies that have $500,000, $1 million market caps that really are there to just suck in your liquidity. And that's why I agree with him, by the way. That's why I advise, really, although it's not financial advice, that if you look at projects below, let's say, 100 million for a normal project or below 50 million for a meme coin, you really are looking at absolute speculation. And they will FOMO you in by telling you that you're in early and this is the opportunity of a lifetime. If this is the opportunity of a lifetime, why are they asking you? Why haven't they got a VC to invest? Because no VC worth its salt will invest, and they want your money. So when you read a headline like this, don't think he's calling your favorite project, Litecoin for example. He's not calling that a Ponzi scheme. He's calling the 90%, 95% of projects out there that really are Ponzi schemes. And that's the issue. We are surrounded by sharks, and all the decent projects are there, and the ones we advise you to go and look at are normally in the top 100 or 200 cryptos. It's very rare we will cover a coin on this live stream that is so far down the list that it has such a micro cap, because it's not what we do. We are not here to separate you from your money. We are here to try and keep you from losing money. There's a difference. We are not here to make you rich. We're here to try and stop you from becoming poor. Now, this is the reason that Ethereum is up 6%. And that is Franklin Templeton, which if you've not heard of, is a very large financial powerhouse in America. They have launched its Ethereum exchange traded fund, dubbed the Franklin Ethereum TR Ethereum ETF. I mean, these people need a marketing department. I'd have called it the Frankie ETF. Frank ETH. There's loads of better names than this nonsense. Right, this happened with Bitcoin, and some of the big companies, BlackRock and Fidelity, they announced their ticker names way before the Ethereum was, way before the ETF was approved, and it caused the market to spike. And what happened? The market crashed again. Yesterday, on a Saturday, I believe, somebody noticed that the Ethereum ETF ticker EZET was available, and that's caused this huge pump. I'm still 95% certain that it's going to be rejected in May. Now, this is the problem. If the whales are buying Ethereum to push the price up to $3,500 and they know it's going to be rejected in May, what are they going to do? They are going to short Ethereum. And what are you going to do? You're going to be buying $3,500 Ethereum that they're going to short against, and you're going to be left with your $3,500 Ethereum being worth $2,700. Now, don't get me wrong, over the next 2 years, whether you buy it at $3,500 or $2,700, you're still going to make gains on Ethereum. It's not going to go anywhere. It's deflationary. It's the second biggest crypto asset in the world. But this stinks. This absolutely stinks of manipulation. And I think if it gets approved, then that hat that I was going to eat when we hit $3,000 Ethereum, that hat is now going to be sprinkled with chili powder, because it's not going to happen in May. It's just not going to happen. There's been no meetings between the SEC and the ETF issuers. So this is a mistake at best. It's intentional in a more sinister way, depending on how you want to look at it. So that is the end of the X-Files. We've caught up. Now you know why Ethereum is pumped. Now you know why you shouldn't listen to everybody online, because you're not a little chicken. And these influencers are certainly not little puppies. So Bitcoin has just entered a second danger zone. Now I would play Kenny Loggins. Why ETH is dominance? Why ETH is dominance? Tariq, can you rephrase that? And I will answer your question about Ethereum. So here we go. Analysts and traders are warning that Bitcoin may see another move to the downside in the next 2 weeks. Now I'm going to give you my price target for the downside in a second. So Rect Capital, which we've covered before, has got 74,500 YouTube subscribers. He thinks that this correction may be mirroring the 2016 halving price action. According to the analyst, the historical precedent suggests that is within the realm of possibility. If you look at these halving retraces, a small portion of them occur before the halving, but the majority of these pullbacks and consolidation periods occur after the halving. In 2016, we had a slightly different scenario where 28 days before the halving, we saw the pre-halving retrace kickstart. If we think about the pre-halving danger zone now, we need to also potentially factor in, or at least consider, a potential danger zone after the halving. Now, again, I made a video a month and a half ago about whether you should sell before the halving and buy after the halving. And in the video, I very clearly said that over a 6-month period, 9-month period of time, it makes no difference. Buying whenever around this area or around a month before the halving doesn't matter in 6 to 12 months' time. So trying to market is more dangerous than just sitting on your hands. So that was my advice. But that was a members only video, by the way, so I didn't put that out on our main channels. However, these blips I'm going to get onto in a second, because there's something very important about waiting to buy Bitcoin, and that's the issue that I have with a lot of people that price on Bitcoin, is they tell you to wait for prices. Those prices may never come. But as I said, we'll go through the chart in a minute. If the halving was last week, then technically we have a 3-week window of 21 days, maybe even less than that right now, because it's the 27th of April. So just over 2 weeks left for this post-halving danger zone based on historical tendencies. In 2016, it's about these next 2 weeks, two pivotal weeks. As always in crypto, the next Fed meeting is the most important. The next 2 weeks are the most important. The Ethereum rejection on its ETF, that's also, everything is always the most critical. So we need to sell out before May. Not necessarily, Tariq, because like I said, the issue with Ethereum is, if you're dollar cost averaging into Ethereum or Bitcoin, just keep dollar cost averaging in. If you want to try and time the market, then I would wait until the week before the ETF approval or rejection, and then consider what the price is then. If we're at $3,800 for Ethereum and you think we're going to get rejected, then you could make that decision to sell and then buy when it is rejected. That is a move. The issue is, if the SEC turns around and says, we're rejecting it now because we don't have enough information and we need another 6 months, then everyone's just going to keep buying Ethereum because they know it's going to be approved in 6 months' time. So the issue is, again, the rejection is one element, but then the words coming out of the SEC are another. If Gary Gensler comes out and says, we're rejecting it for these reasons, but once these reasons have been resolved, we will then look to make a decision. The Ethereum dominance. I'll do the Bitcoin Ethereum dominance tomorrow, and I'll show you the chart because it will have broken out, I think, and we'll take a look at that. Now, the question that he asks is, are we going to go below where we held, which is 60,000? Now, I've used 60,666 as my target because that is the mark of the beast. And that's easy for me to remember. I am not some kind of Satanist. It's just an easy number to remember in my head. So I will show you what I think is going to happen with Bitcoin. I'm going to give you some targets. And remember, these are not set in stone targets. These are targets which the charts are showing. Nobody has a crystal ball, apart from maybe the incredibly rich people who've made a lot of money out of crypto, and they're not going to tell you they've got a crystal ball. So let me move this line down a little bit to where we were, which is about there. Okay, about there. Right. So we've got a couple of different levels of support on Bitcoin, and one is around here. Okay, we have a fib level, and that fib level is at 61.3-ish, and we have used it as support. used it as support, used it as support. So we have a solid level at 61.3. We've then come up to this next line here, which again, I didn't draw this today. 67.4. We came down. We failed to break 74, which was my target. We broke down. We couldn't get back up above. We've bounced, and now we're here. So the two targets then are, let's move this up, 56,000 and 61.3. They're the two targets for me. If we come down, they're the two targets. I think we're going to hold 60,600 because we've held it in the past. However, if we lose that, then I think we need to see the bull market support band again. And like I said, one of my theories is that we could potentially do this for a few months. And this will start to do this. The bull market support band will start to come up. And at some point, we will kiss it. And that will be like setting fire to our fireworks. And that will cause us, in my opinion, to then move back up and start to attack some of these levels. That's what I think is going to happen. Now, I've drawn this on the daily, and clearly it says August here. I don't think this is going to happen in July or August. I think this is going to be a September event. July and August tend to be quiet because all of the incredibly rich traders, they all go on holiday, and they don't go to England where it rains all the time. They will probably go somewhere nice, somewhere like the Hamptons, for example. So that's the issue, is we don't have a great deal of time to move before the traders go on holiday. We've got May and we've got June. We've got 2 months, we've got 8 weeks to make a move. Do you think we're going to make a move in 8 weeks when we've been doing this? Look at where we've been. So since the 13th of March, which is 6 weeks ago, we have ranged. That was potentially the head and shoulders. We've come back down. Maybe we break out. Who knows? But we don't have a lot of time to do it. We don't have a lot of time to do it. But again, is there too much buying pressure? Is there too much selling pressure? Is there not enough of either? Is Grayscale going to stop selling? Because they keep selling. At which point do we see some kind of movement? Where is the market telling us it's going to go? It's not telling us it's going down. It's not telling us it's going up. It's not doing anything. It's just sitting here. I mean, there isn't really any kind of direction in the market. There's nothing at the minute. So we just need to basically sit on our hands. If you're dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin or Ethereum, keep doing it, because there doesn't seem to be a huge retracement, if you like. I mean, just to give you an idea, this never works for me. Oh, look at that. So we are down 13% from our all-time high, and we wicked all the way down to 19. Let's call it 19. No, 19%. So when we wicked all the way down, we came down 19% from our, I suppose, recent highs. Now, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. I think a 20% correction is about right. So we've kind of come down 20%. If, however, we decide that we're not happy with that and we come all the way down here, that would be a 24% correction. I think that's a bit severe, if you ask me. I think that's a bit severe. So I think 60,006, 61,000, I think it could hold. But again, we need some action going in one direction or another. Kishan has said, yes, a week probably to pump. I'd say so. I think we're going to need another week before we see some kind of action. We're sitting just below 64,000. I mean, there's lots of different targets on here that we could look at, but we're not going to spend too long on it. It's a Sunday. It's a Sunday. It's supposed to be relaxed. It's supposed to be a relaxing day. So it is. And plenty of time to drink my coffee before it goes cold, which I always let my coffee go cold. Weak growth, high inflation is a massive crypto crash coming. So we spoke about this yesterday. The issue is the American economy is not growing at the rate it needs to grow at, and inflation is moving up. And they are high growth, low inflation is what people want. So when you have low growth and high inflation, it's the exact opposite of a good time. It's the worst time. You've heard the saying, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. This is the worst of times, and it's the worst of times. Nothing is going well at this moment in time for the US economy, and Joe Biden is not helping. Recent signals from the US economy are stirring fears of stagflation, casting a shadow over the cryptocurrency world, particularly Bitcoin. He highlighted some key events, including disappointing GDP figures and a notable rise in core inflation, indicating rough economic waters ahead. Now, the question is, Chairman Powell is stuck between a rock and a hard place, so much so that he will get sacked. That's how dangerous this is for him. If he doesn't make a decisive move, then the government are going to blame him and the Fed. And it's not their fault, because it wasn't them that printed 30% of the money. So Powell is in trouble. The GDP of America has shrunk to 1.6%. So it's still positive. It's still growing, but it's not growing enough. The CPI, or the CPE, the PCE, so many different names. The PCE has gone from 2 to 3.7%. It's really not good. So the dilemma is, of course, if you cut interest rates, inflation rises. If you push interest rates higher, then the economy will shrink. So putting it down is bad, putting it up is bad, sitting on your hands is also bad, because your interest rates are not high enough to bring down inflation. So it's a mess. It's an absolute mess. Stagflation is the worst thing to happen in a market. It's just not good. So in the 70s and 80s, we had this again. I was very young in the 80s. I don't remember it. I don't remember it being that bad a time, to be honest. Stock markets weathered significant downturns. If history repeats itself, cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin could face selling pressure. Now, this could be, it's not a black swan as such, because it's not a one-off event. It's more of the macro environmental climate. Look at Japan. Japan is finished. 250% debt to GDP ratio. Japan is against the wall. It can't sell its bonds because that will pump the American economy. It can't hold on to the bonds. It can't service its debt. It has an aging population. Its GDP is going through the floor. Japan is finished as a financial powerhouse. America is a long way from that, but it's still heading in that direction. So the FOMC meeting is 4 days away. So that would mean this Wednesday there's an FOMC meeting. And Chairman Powell, I would expect him to hold rates. And that isn't going to help anybody. As investors anxiously await the decision, the crypto market remains on edge. So this week, we are certainly going to see an awful lot of volatility in the market, in my opinion, because people are going to try and preempt the decision. We're going to have fake outs to the downside, fake outs to the upside. We could wick off 67,000 and then wick down to 61,000, and we could do all of that in an hour in the market. So expect huge levels of volatility this week. I would not be trading this week. In fact, what I would do is maybe sit on some cash, have some dollars to the side, and see if there's any bargains to pick up. That's the best that you could look for. And if the markets rip because he's cut interest rates, then your bags are up anyway. but just maybe have 1 or 2%. C-Case update, is there for Ripple after the FBI's crypto advice?